28 months down, yeah, the industry's been bruised, but we're not here to fold, we're here to refuse. While others pause, we built the plays, now we're leading the charge in a brand new phase. You feel that tension, that's the pressure to grow. Hiring's messy, turnovers high and budgets low, but we don't panic, we adapt. We sharpen the edge and reload the map. This is the staffing playbook, strategy on tap. Steven brings the grit, G-Money brings the slap. Forget the fluff, forget the spin. We give you plays that actually win. From the break room floor to the boardroom seat, we've walked the walk, now we bring the heat. CDLs, forklifts, line leads, and execs. We place the best and fix the wrecks. Insight, hustle, leadership bold. No safe takes, just the truth told cold. Wanna scale your team, wanna close that gap. We got the data, the story, and the roadmap. So turn it up, lock it in. This is more than a podcast, it's a win. This is the staffing playbook. Let's get to work, it starts right now.
Welcome back to the Staffing Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Steve Farrell, and I'm joined by no other, my co-host,
Geneviève Bourgeois, aka G-Money with the slaps.
G-Money with the slaps.
I can't take it seriously. I crack up every time. How are you today, Steve?
Oh, I'm excited. So this is episode 40 of the Staffing Playbook podcast. Never thought we would already be at episode 40 by now, starting this last year. And to see how much we've climbed on the charts, the leaderboards, the amazing guests we've had on here, I can't thank everyone enough for making this a success, including some of our all-time favorite returning guests, Kim Henderson from Cobalt Compass Solutions. Kim, how are you?
I am great. Thank you, Steve, for having me back again. G-Money, thank you as well. Always excited to be here. It's my third time with you guys, and we have a tremendous amount of information sharing and fun every time we're together. So thank you.
So glad you're here. Richard Rosner, no other than the staffing shark. Him and I go way back 5 years ago with the Ring of Hire show with Dave Wilson.
Oh, man.
Richard, how you doing, my friend?
Brother, love it. And G-Money, I can't wait to deep dive in today. It's a pleasure, man. You know, it's always a blast when I'm on this show. And I got my sidekick, Kim, here. So we're going to have a blast today. And good real talk, too.
Yes. So today's episode's a special one. We're going to be unpacking the latest U.S. staffing trends in light industrial, healthcare, the trades. We're going to cover AI, marketing, recruiting, everything that's going on right now in the industry. There's a lot of news. And I thought no better to have Kim and Richard here to just help us unpack all of this information. What does it mean to you? What can we do to respond to what's happening in the market? So, we're still rebounding from last year's lows. And so every insight to help your firm stay ahead, we're going to be covering that today. So Richard, I think we need to kick this off with a topic that I'm passionate about, but not as passionate as you are. And that is AI in staffing. What is going on in the world of AI and staffing?
Okay, so first off, I got to tell everybody out there, you have to embrace it. If you do not, you're going to fall off. It is what it is. So, hey, what's up, my brother? So long story short here, AI, I came up with a company called LexDuo with Mike Wolford. And for the last 6 months, we are building custom AI agents. So here's what I'm going to say real quick is.
What is an AI agent? Let's start there.
Oh, an AI agent. Okay, it's built the way you want. ChatGPT platform, you feed it the information you want. You create it the way you want. So you can have a marketing one, you can have a recruiting one, a sourcing one. So you plug it and put the brain in the way you want it. But this is what the difference is. Everybody's talking about prompts. That's gone. It's about programming that. You can drop books in. Can you imagine dropping a couple like recruiting books into your AI agent? All that memory keeps going. It keeps getting smarter and smarter. And that's what we teach people. And it's amazing. And then we also can do AI. I hate to say it. AI ATS systems now. So we can actually build you a custom one on ChatGPT. Sorry, my friends, but I love all the ATSs out there, but it's coming to a point now where you can just build on the ChatGPT platform.
Well, just something to follow up with that especially when it comes to like programming. Right now, something that we're actually working on an initiative is AEO versus SEO, because it's like AI, how many people are actually using ChatGPT or any AI source, like kind of plugging it in. So actually teaching it and training it and customizing it to your unique needs is super smart.
Yeah. So what Geneviève is just sharing there is, how many of you here are using AI as your new search engine to find information? Traditionally, when you're looking for a problem to solve, you're going to Google it. You're looking for a staffing agency near you or the top rated staffing agency for this niche. You're always using Google, but now people are using AI. And so is your SEO optimized to be pulling into these large language models?
100%.
What do you call that, Geneviève?
AEO, not SEO. For like
I love
artificial.
that. And I'm going to chime in real quick. I was on a Google conference about a month ago, and even Google fessed up to it that the SEO is not the same anymore. They are getting disrupted by ChatGPT, bottom line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kim, what are you seeing out there?
100%. I quite honestly, that's what I use now when I need to do a search. And then I also ask it to cite its sources so I can kind of, piece it all together and make certain that there's some degree of accuracy in it. But it puts everything in one spot where I don't have to go to multiple sites and multiple areas and look and piece it all together. It gives it to me all in one place. So I've actually almost exclusively started to use ChatGPT for that and not Google at all anymore, interestingly.
Yeah.
And I also read a stat that said that, when it comes to like, to your point, G Money, when it comes to like recommendations and things like that on the internet, it's getting to where what you're going to want from a marketing standpoint is for ChatGPT to start recommending you as the XYZ person in your space or your profession. And having it, basically start to tout you as whatever expert or skill set that you want it to. So they said that's almost the next thing that's on its way coming, and how to get recommended by ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it's going to have to be training it and programming it, but also you're going to have to do this is the whole marketing piece and the weird part of my brain. Like we're going to have to take the SEO along with the AEO and combine them so that things are naturally showing up on ChatGPT, and by naturally programmed.
You got
Right.
it. And I got to tell you real quick, G-Money, that actually our staffing industry is only using maybe 10% of it. You know that. They do job descriptions and that's it. Every time I go to these conferences, they just do it for like job descriptions and maybe a couple other things. They don't realize they can find, candidates on there. They can find companies. I mean, even if you go on a trip, hell, if you go to Florida, you can put an agent in there and book your whole trip. Do you ever see that, Steve? Everything. No. Restaurants, anything you want. Boom, right there.
So I'll tell you, I want to go around the room, see what kind of tools you guys are using for AI at this point. So I'll start with what I'm doing. What I'm experimenting with every tool that I can find out there. And our CFO probably doesn't love it because I just sent him the bill. But we're a company that's embracing AI. We want everybody to be learning AI. We want 100% adoption at every level of our organization. And so I've got ChatGPT's OpenAI operator. It's $200 a month. It's an AI bot that you can have it do different tasks, and you can train it. So if it doesn't have local knowledge of a software you're using, you can go, okay, I want you to watch me do this specific task in this order and record it, and then repeat that task for me moving forward. And so I'll log into our ATS. I'll do a task, have it watch me. It learns it, and then it can go and just do that for me forever. So that's one tool that I'm using. It's just an AI agent that has full access to my computer. You can do it from the web browser, but if you do remote desktop tie into Operator, now it can control your whole computer. And so I've got it building Salesforce reports. I have it going through Salesforce and looking for trends and insights to then roll up to me. So then I can better help support my team. Another thing, I've got this little pendant. You guys see that on my wrist?
Got it.
So this is an AI note taker that is attached to my watch, and it's literally recording. I know there's privacy issues here, so I let people know in advance, but it's literally recording 20 hours a day, everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm saying, every conversation. It transcribes every word, rolls it up into a large language model, tells me what I need to know. I can ask it questions. It can give me reminders. It's like, hey, you talked about having a meeting with this person tomorrow. Would you like me to put that on your calendar? Like, it's all there just on my wristband as I'm out and about talking to people. And, people are like, oh, that's scary, privacy issues, whatever. I get it. There's validity to that. But imagine being having a one-on-one with one of your team members, or having a one-on-one with a client or a prospect. Now you can be fully engaged, not have to worry about taking scrupulous notes, missing something. It's like everything's being recorded, and it can really help you just stay focused on that conversation. So for me, AI is helping me build stronger relationships in person, rather than taking those relationships away.
Thank you, Steve. Keep saying that louder and louder for everybody else to hear.
100% agree, Steve. When it comes to any type of meeting that we're in, let's face it, we're in meetings all day, every day. Zoom, of course, has the AI companion that can do the same thing, or use Fireflies. But what I found is I exclusively always do that now, and it helps me to focus more on the meeting, to pay better attention, to be more engaged in it, and to be able to actually think on the fly a little bit better, because I'm not writing things down anymore. And from a standpoint of your like what you said, a follow-up, let's face it, action items and things like that can sometimes fall by the wayside. This really kind of keeps the organization so much better. I think, and I guess I want everybody's opinion on this, and Steve and Richard, G-Money, you can probably tell maybe our listeners. I think the staffing industry, maybe people are struggling with, where do I go to try to learn every possible application that exists for AI that I can apply to my business? Is there one site or one person or one course? Where can I go to learn like all the features, all the components, that I could use in one area? I think people are struggling with that. I mean, so what say you?
This comes across my feed all of the time. It's like an AI boot camp, and was it Kosovo? And so you can go and learn over the course of like 28 days different types of AI. And then it's like a course, you pay for it, but then you can go and tailor it to what you need and what you use. So I see ads for it all the time.
Real quick, John Ruffini. Hi, John. Glad you're
Johnny.
Johnny's here. All right.
He's asking what's the name of the pendant. So there's a lot of these pendants out there. There's the B, which is new to the market. It's really cool. What I'm using is from Plaud, Plaud. Plaud Note Taker. They've got this little pendant. They've got a little tiny thing you can attach to your phone. But yeah, I use Plaud AI. Kim, I think there's a lot of, I think you could probably use AI to actually find the answer to your question, like where are all these resources at, and create a summary for me and tell me the use case. I bet you we could do that in 30 seconds. But I would say for the majority of people out there, like, you've just got to experiment. This technology is improving by the minute. And so you can't just rely on one thing that you read a month ago. Like, all of that's probably not relevant anymore. It's just changing so fast. And so, my advice is you just play around with the different tools, find the use cases for you, and run with it.
You summed it up there, Steve-O. And I think the biggest thing I'm going to tell the staffing industry here, they don't want change. This is the biggest change we ever had in our staffing industry. You know that, because we don't have control anymore. AI has control, and we lost control. Seriously, we did, because everything's coming so fast. So we have to adapt to this. I'm going to be factual with this. And the recruiters out there, everybody is scared. If I can say anything out there, stop being on defense and be on offense with AI. Stop complaining and embrace it. Just learn a couple applications each month. In 12 months, you'll be a super brainiac.
That's a great approach to it. So people don't feel overwhelmed, like, oh my God, where do I start? What do I do? Start using, like you said, maybe 2 things a month that you can apply to your business, apply to your desk, so that way it's not so mentally overpowering for you, or overwhelming, or scary.
You know what Kim's funny is? If the shark can learn AI and have a company and help somebody else out, everybody else can do it too. Seriously, I'm the most non-AI guy when I started this shit. And seriously, now I am like embedded in the AI ocean. So if the shark can do it, y'all can do it too.
You had a boot camp as well recently, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. We have AI training all the time, Lex Duo. So we'll put the plug down in the bottom there with me and Mike Wolford, which will be on your show. He's the AI recruiter, just spoke at NAPS. I mean, the stuff he talks
about. Get him on the show.
He breaks it down, Steven and G-Money. He breaks it down so simple. Within the hour, you understand everything, what goes into the AI agent and all that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on the show. If you can get me an introduction,
you'll have it after this,
doing in the industry to be disruptive. There was a recent survey done. I believe this was a report published by the Staffing Hub, and 67% of staffing firms are noting that they're starting to pilot different AI tools for screening, sourcing, matching, scheduling. There's obvious productivity gains, right? You can gain probably 20 hours of your life back by using these tools if you know how to use them effectively. And when we look at the margin pressure in our industry, margins continue to come down, but our expenses don't come down with them. Well, AI is a way to maybe control your expenses a little bit more, save time, reduce some of that overhead, with these AI tools. And I know that's a scary thing to hear. Maybe people lose their jobs that are just doing menial tasks that a chatbot can do or an AI agent that can do. But you've got to find that on your expense line. You've got to use something different to help with these margin compressions. And AI is certainly there.
Steve, okay, real quick here. You're not going to lose your job if you embrace AI. I pity the fool that doesn't embrace AI. Just
You'll
like
lose
Mr.
it if
T
you
would
don't.
say, right? I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Voice AI is another one. I got to tell you all, voice AI is a game changer. Can you imagine scrubbing your database of 30,000 candidates and seeing which one is alive and which one's not? Nobody wants to source all day, make phone calls, G-Money. I mean, do you want to be on the phone all day making 100 phone calls?
No, I used to have to do that. I ran a 360 desk. That was awful. Why do you think I was like, I'm going back? I'm just doing marketing. Because I've been there, I've done that, having to do the smile and dial, and you're not wrong there. You're really not. And the thing is, AI, instead of having to spend hours in an Excel sheet trying to export data, figure out who's relevant, who's not, who has the skill, who has that trade, who has this experience.
Yeah.
And the voice AI is always happy, by the way. 2:00 in the afternoon, it's not even hungry. It's like, hi, it's like, seriously, if you're a sourcer on the phone at 3:00, you're like, hello. Or you might just click down and say, I'm not even calling anybody. I mean, seriously, it is, make 3 phone calls and the rest are just clicks. Get your 100 phone calls a day.
Well, sure. It's kind of like what we thought, years ago when the job boards came on the scene, right? You're talking like 1999, something like that. Or, oh my God, my job is going to go away. It's not going to be here. Or LinkedIn, when that came on, oh my gosh, my job isn't going to be here. Much to the contrary, right? We determined how to, incorporate that into our business. And now we can't even imagine our jobs without LinkedIn or without a board.
You summed it up, Kim. And I keep saying this. I'll say this over and over again. Our industry's in fear. Stop being in fear. We got to be positive and think positive. Everything we talk about is like, it's changing. And how many conversations you have on LinkedIn, it's all about fear. They're doing this, they're switching this. My friends, jump on the surfboard and ride it.
Exactly. And the way you will lose your job, I look at it this way, it's the opposite. The way you will lose your job is if you don't embrace using AI features to make you more productive. Because if everybody else is doing it and they're more productive and they're hitting higher numbers and you're kind of spinning your wheels in the mud because you're doing it, from the same style of like it's 1974, then you're going to fall behind and ultimately you will lose your job. So it's almost like an oxymoron. If you don't embrace it, you probably are going to struggle and ultimately not be successful, right? If everyone else is using it.
Yeah, I mean, every candidate that I'm going to be hiring in the future, it will be a requirement. You have to be experienced in these large language models. You have to be, very curious about AI. And if you're not, then I'm not hiring you.
And well, here
you're going to incorporate that into all your interviewing questions, right? What's your experience? What are you using? How have you used it? What that's a solid point.
And well, so here's the thing about fear. With everyone like being, oh, AI is going to go replace my job. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Here's what fear actually is. It's a false evidence appearing real. Get that out of your head.
Yes.
Get that out of your head. Embrace AI. Learn the tools and grow. Because honestly, we're in a time of like a huge technological shift. Why not embrace it?
Love it, G-Money. Yeah, keep embracing it. That key word, embrace, peeps.
All right, so I want to move into marketing and sales strategies right now. Kim, you just came back from an ASA marketing committee. Talk about that. Let's talk about what marketing is looking like in 2025 and staffing right now, and who's being left behind and why, and who's on the cutting edge.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. And then I want to get to a couple of surveys and polls that ASA did this past week in conjunction with Harris. But first off, in terms of the marketing side, we kind of go around the room always in our meetings and we talk about, what people are experiencing in their companies from a marketing standpoint. And what's stunning to me or shocking to me in all of the staffing companies that I work with, and it could be anywhere from IT to healthcare to light industrial, finance and accounting. There are still many staffing companies out there that are not really embracing marketing to the degree that they should be, right? They're kind of looking at sales and marketing as two completely separate things. Yep. And that's not the case. You absolutely, they're complementary, have to join marketing into sales as part of the strategy. And I actually have a little, like a training class that I give. Just really the basics of getting out there on LinkedIn and showing up. And I am appalled at how many recruiters and account managers and even, sales and recruiting leaders that don't go out there on a consistent basis week after week and post valuable content that talks about their candidates, their clients, their wins, what they're working on, their company culture, talking about industry trends, skill set trends. All this stuff is just free for the taking. And we all know there's piles of information out there that we can get. We snap our fingers. And it's a great way to attract people to you. And I'm still not understanding why so many staffing companies are not embracing it, right? I mean, you're a recruiter and you're not out there every day on LinkedIn or an account manager, or at least 2 to 3 times a week. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. And I think a lot of it is people, they're not bought into it maybe, or they're maybe it's that they don't know how to plan it. Maybe they're lazy. Maybe they don't plan their day well and time block their day well, because I know we have Johnny Raffini on the call, and Johnny's a huge believer in planning, and so am I. Anything can take place if you set aside time on your calendar to do it. So I probably, maybe kind of had a sidebar there, but what I'm seeing is, companies that are embracing it and doing it well, they're getting the gains, right? They're getting more client interaction. They're getting more candidate interaction. The companies are still kind of like, marketing's over there. I'll do it if maybe, kind of, sort of. They're at a huge disadvantage. Use every tool in your toolkit, and marketing's a tool. And I can say, guys, 5 years ago, guilty as charged. I did not embrace marketing. I'm like, let me just do my sales thing over here. And wow, now I realize if you do the two together, you really do move the needle so much more quickly. It's like, work smart. Don't beat your head through a wall. The industry is hard enough, right? Give yourself every advantage. And so many staffing companies are still not doing it. It's kind of stunning to me.
And so that's one of those things. We've done several episodes on social selling and the benefit of going out there, putting value added information. You can connect to your clients and potential candidates. It's something that works for both sides. It's something that works for operations. It's something that works for sales. And I think it's really important to go make sure that you are time blocking and making time to go add value, because you're adding that genuine information, right? Creating credibility, your authentic self. It's being out there, and you're also branding yourself and helping with your company while you are branding yourself, branding with the company and working with it. And that's one of those things. Like when I joined on, I've worked with Steven for a few years. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I am too. So it was one of those things, like we really want to make sure that we unified sales and marketing to help build a strategic goal to move forward, not just being flat.
Yeah. And if you're a candidate looking for a job, the resume is no longer enough, right? You have to have a social media presence. Shark, jump in on that. I know you're.
I know
Right,
Shark's been waiting.
I've been waiting. I got to ask you, what is marketing? Do I even know what that is? No, all joking aside, you ready for this? So first off is social selling. Stop that word, peeps. It's interest selling. You have to be interested. They have to be interested. And then I call another one's improv selling. The biggest word I say this year, and Kim knows it, valuetainment. You got to bring value and entertainment, my friends. If you don't, you're going to fall flat. Everybody talks about social selling, G-Money. They don't know what it is. They think social selling is just getting out there and shaking a hand. That is not social selling at all. That's why I say interest selling. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about beer chat, coffee chat first. Let's not even talk about staffing. I never talk about staffing in any of my marketing right off the bat. Seriously, it's about just getting to know my brand. But our industry, I'm going to say it, is so pigeonholed here. Guess where I learned from? Gary Vee. Chick-fil-A marketing is one of the best ever because they have the human connection in the beginning. You sit through the drive-through for like 10 minutes. Your food could be cold, but the experience is so great that you don't care. You just eat it anyway. And the shit's not even that great. I hate to say it. I joke about it, but Chick-fil-A has the best model ever. G-Money, am I right? I mean, it's contagious. People just line up. And then you have Burger King. There's nobody at it. It's like, seriously, it's like, what's going on there? But getting back to the marketing part, it's about them, not us. And I keep saying this over and over again. Nobody cares about all the awards we have. We think that's what they want. I'm going to tell you both. I closed 38 clients last year for a staffing firm in West Virginia. Every one of them I asked, why did you use me? They said, your character, you're funny. Your service is great because you give us your personal cell phone and we call you on a Friday or Saturday, you answer the phone. There it is. The rest of them, A, B, C, and D, they drop off stuff and say, we can bring you bodies. And I joke about that all the time. I say, I'm not a pimp. I'm not bringing you bodies here. At the end of the day here, no, I'm not. I'm not a pimp. Maybe I should be, but all joking aside. No, I'm bringing you value. And you know what? We're going to do this together, you know? And the big things I say is listen, learn, lead. If you do that in your sales conference and your calls, people listen to you. They'll listen back and forth. Not to ramp on that. And then I got to talk about marketing real quick, if I can, Steve, and then I'll shut up a little bit. But the marketing content out there is so blah. The websites, my brother came in from California and he's in sports medicine. He looked at like 7 websites and staffing. He's like, what is this? It was like an elbow and like a YMCA picture. Nothing to capture the attention of the candidate client. You got to grab their attention. What's going to make their attention? Not that I have a $400 job per hour job, if you want to joke like that. You know, it's not about that. It's about what's in it for them. That's why I always say, make videos. MTV's back. G-Money, you know, you're part of Kennedy now. You know, you're Miss Kennedy from MTV now, whatever you want to call it. But all joking aside, MTV's back. Everybody wants videos. Yeah. What we do with my AI company now is we do avatars, personalized avatars, and say, hey, Steve, how you doing, buddy? I see you're in the industry, you know, looking for a couple welders and stuff like that. It's all an avatar. You put that in the email, embed it. In your subject line, you put some captions, fire stuff. Emojis are big time in emails now. People like emojis. If you go to Saks Fifth Avenue, stuff like that, and read all their subject lines or Temu, anything you buy, G-Money, you could talk about this because you're a marketing expert. The subject lines catch you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got I love a good punny one. All right. I love something that captures my attention. And also a lot of the time, it's the things that I will go click on, especially for sales emails myself or just anything. A lot of the time they do have an emoji and they have something that cracks me up or grabs my attention immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. Stupid stuff works. I tell people, why do I get canceled? Because I'm kind of crazy. I just have fun with it. And I don't care what people think. I think that's the biggest thing in our industry. People's too worried about what other people think. Trust me, my friends. I'm the first one to tell you. First one to wear flip-flops to conferences, and people's like, Shark, where's your suit at? I don't wear a suit anymore. I wear a medium shirt. Sorry, peeps. If you don't like it, let me go. Medium shirts.
Yeah, it's like imperfect action is better than sitting on your hands, right? You have to start somewhere, right, Shark? And for any staffing company out there that thinks that they don't need to do this, I submit to you this. Go out there and just quickly look on LinkedIn. Look at 3 luxury brands, right? Look at Louis Vuitton, look at Rolex, look at Ferrari. Okay. Not only are they out there with, millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, they're out there actually posting. They're out there on social media, building up the hype and the excitement. And I would say that those are 3 companies that really don't need to necessarily advertise, right, or get out there and do PR. They've got a great business model. But if they're doing it right, when they've got unlimited, really, demand for what they produce, we absolutely have to be doing it. And imperfect action is better than no action at all, right? Just get started.
Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, yesterday I actually saw an ad for Mercedes, and it made me laugh. And it's like, Mercedes, it's for the girlies. And there's like the big G-Wagon. They're like, oh, look, you can't get in accidents if there's the camera here and here. Like, it was really funny.
And you know what's funny is I love what you said. I love what you said there. I do weather reports in the wintertime. I don't know if you've seen that, G-Money, with my T-shirt on. It's out. It's cold. And I do like snow patrol reports and that. I get so much activity of that. It's amazing. And then when I go to restaurants, here's a tip I tell everybody. I take pictures with the manager, the food. I share it on my Facebook. Guess what? They share it on their platform with my logo, my content information. They are one of the local #1 restaurants. Guess what? Before you know it, everybody knows who you are. That's how you build your brand. People don't understand that. They think they have to build their brand by themselves. That word personal brand, I hate that. It's community brand. You have to build around your community. Nobody wants a personal brand. That's you sit in the corner by yourself. We got to change these words. I'm going to tell you straight up, man. It's the personal brand. I hate when people say, I'm building a personal brand. Well, good. By yourself in a room, the locked door. Come on.
Yeah. You made a great point earlier too. It's about other people. It's not about us, right? For someone that's out there, posting on LinkedIn, showing themselves on a treadmill and making a hamburger in their backyard and all that stuff. Nobody cares about that.
Nobody gives two shits.
Value. Yeah, that's not adding value to people that are out there. Attempt to educate and inform and add value to somebody else out there to where they can look at or read something you have. It takes something away from it. It takes an actionable item away from it that they can implement either, in their job or in their life that's going to make it better. And I think that, oftentimes, to your point, when it comes to branding, people have lost sight of that because I don't need to see you drinking a beer on your treadmill, right? That doesn't help me.
Well, we could drink a beer, but have some kind of initiative behind it. I always say this, guys, you'll love this. It's like, don't brag, just have swag. And that's what it's about. I think we brag too much in marketing. Let's have some staffing swag.
Yeah.
Richard, you and I went back and forth on this on a prior episode, and we just a couple of weeks ago we brought in 14 sales executives and staffing firm owners out of Utah for the Utah Staffing Sales Conference, and we talked about this. And I was actually surprised when I was asking people around the room, like, why do you not have a presence on social media? Why are you not putting yourself out there, your team, your leadership? And I'd say there was probably 3 people in the room that they are, and they're doing a decent job, but the rest are, some don't even have a LinkedIn profile. And some of these individuals were part of these large staffing firms where they've got a social media policy. It's very strict, and it doesn't allow for a sales rep to put themselves out there in the right way to get that attention from your audience. And so I think there's a real niche for your mid-size and small firms to really accelerate their presence online, to build their communities, because these large firms, they're being left behind, and that's a choice that they're making. This isn't by accident. They're choosing not to have this presence online.
I love what you said. I'm going to chime in real quick. The big box staffing firms, look out. The underdog ones are going to kick some ass. I see it now. I see it down here with the franchises and stuff, because I'm crushing with these little local staffing firms, 10 people, because they're more real. G-Money, they're more into it. These other ones, they box you. Well, you can't do this marketing stuff. Real quick, that's why I did my own thing. I had staffing firms I worked for, and they said, Shark, submit that. You can't do that. That's over the board. We have to do this basic marketing thing. I'm like, I can't be creative. I want to be an influencer too and make you guys grow.
Even previously where Stephen and I worked before, we wanted to go and do the podcast, right?
I remember that.
Too much red tape. We couldn't do it.
Why? That's the question. Staffing firms, can I tell you something out there? Look at me in the eye. You're missing out. If you don't have a podcast, if you're not being creative and outside the box, your #1 marketing is not outsourcing. It's your internal. It's your recruiter. It's your sales rep. They are your marketing team. Let them post. Let them post.
Yeah. Man, what a great value add. Think about it, Shark, and G-Money. If let's say you have a prospect or you have a client, put them on your podcast or highlight them in an article, write an article about them, highlight them in a post. What a great way to add value to them, basically showcasing them, in terms of what their job is, how something interesting that they're doing. They're going to love that. So again, making it about other people, not about you. And think about what client wouldn't want to be showcased in an article, in a post, or in a podcast.
Let's not even go clients. I do clients. How about somebody in the industry, or in the community, like a baseball player, high school, and he say, I'll put him on your podcast. The whole community is going to tap into that, and it's got your logo, everything. There's where you get business at, my peeps. And then you don't have to chase. They chase you. It's so easy, G-Money. But I think at the end of the day, the principle is every staffing firm, the owners and stuff want to be in charge. They don't want to give the keys to somebody else. And this stuff about stealing information or whatever, I'm going to tell you straight up, non-competes, you can throw them out the door. I've had 2 of them against me and nothing ever happens. At the end of the day, that person is the one working with that person. It's not the logo of these big boxes, which they think the logo is powerful. That logo, nobody gives 2 shits about it. It's about all 4 of us talking to a client to connect. That's the person they want to deal with. That's why when they go to another staffing firm, they follow them. You're not stealing it. They want to work with that person they trust already.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
solving their problems, right? They want us to solve their problems. That's the net of it. We're not there to give a body, like you said. We're not pimps. We're there to solve the problems, whether that's high turnover or faster go to market, greater revenue, greater profit, whatever that is. A software release. We're there to solve a business problem.
It is. You want to bring muscle to their workforce. That's what I say. I want to be productive. I don't even want to solve anything. I just want to be productive. It's like when I show up, we're at the gym now. Let's get some muscle and get some people in here and make money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. I want to move into another important topic, and this is some economic anxiety when it comes to the workforce. I want to go through the workforce sentiment, the staffing index by the ASA, the SIA Bullhorn indicator. There's a lot going on right now. I want to start with there was a new article published this week, and it's all around people needing to take on more jobs and side hustles. You guys probably back in February remember this. There was, for the first time in recorded history, more Americans working 2 or 3 jobs than any time before in history. So that was back in February. Then this new survey comes out saying that 64% of U.S. workers, think about that, 64% of the workforce in the U.S. are planning for a second job or side hustle in the next year. Mm-hmm. What is going on out there?
So I'll jump in, and Shark, I know you have some thoughts on this as well, because you and I talked about it. I think it's a few things, right? So number one, you have had some persistent inflation, right? Things are expensive for everything from healthcare to transportation. I mean, rent, mortgages, whatever it is. I mean, in food, inflation is it's moderated. It's been tamped down, but it's the people fail to understand is once prices rise, it'll moderate. It's not like they ever go back down to where they were 5 years ago, right? It becomes the new normal, becomes the new, floor, right? And you can only continue to grow from there, unfortunately. So I think a lot of times it's people attempting to make ends meet, but also it's, making the ability to, like if they're kids out of school, pay off debt. Also the ability to, if they want to switch careers, right, and gain skills to kind of go and get into a different profession, it enables them to actually start to do that, on the side and build up the credibility, build up the portfolio and the skills. So one day they can maybe leave their job or leave their profession to go and do this full time. So I think it's for a lot of different reasons. And I think, to that point, the ASA poll that they came out with, it said that there's about 28% of employed home renters have less than 1 month of savings if they were laid off. That it should scare the living hell out of everybody to think that 28% of employed people have less than a month saved up, and they'd be on the street right after month 2. So that's a huge problem, and I think that this whole side hustle thing of 6 in 10 workers having that, a lot of it's because they have to, right, to make the ends meet, or they're really trying to go and get their arm into a whole other area. And this is a great way to start doing it, like the low risk way to start doing it.
Well, I read a statistic that I want to say it was like 60 or 70% of people don't even have enough money for a $500 emergency.
Oh, yeah. I believe
like it's frightening. It's frightening.
You know what? G-Money, we're in survival mode these days. Seriously, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I'm dating myself. This is survival mode. Everybody has to have a side hustle. I have 5 side hustles now. 3 are in staffing. I've got my hands. You have to have a diversified portfolio now, like mutual funds. Swear to God, you do. I mean, one paycheck doesn't cover it anymore. And I went to commencement here at WVU. I'm giving them a plug right now. And I connected with all these candidates. So what I did, Steve, you tell me this ain't pretty wild. And I got to talk to them. 75 people connected with me on LinkedIn at commencement. Didn't know anybody there. Just showed up, gave handshakes, fist pumps. It's the most important day of their life. But all these guys and girls, most of them were civil engineers. And only about 30% had jobs. This is engineering. You think they would already have a job already, and they're still working a couple of bartending, waiting tables, doing stuff on TikTok, or a lot of people selling cosmetic stuff now. That's big, and health products and stuff. So you see that our youth is got the side hustle already because they have these big school loans, which I hate to say it, we've all probably went to college here. Is college worth the value anymore? I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't think it is unless you're going to be a doctor or nurse. But if you're just going to be like a sociology, you're never going to get it paid off ever.
All right, Sean, this is a topic I'm passionate about. You
go for it.
You lit the match on me, so here we go. Okay, so again, ASA in conjunction with Harris, and I have it right here. I didn't want to get it wrong. They actually surveyed 2,093 adults, and 33% of those adults would tell a graduating high school senior to go to trade school. Right, 33%. Right, that's like a third of the population. And the other interesting thing about it is they broke it down by age group. So within the baby boomer generation, 41% of them would basically tell these high school grads go to trade school. And Gen X, which would be Rich and I, 37%, and then it went down for millennials and then down for Gen Z. But think about that guy.
Kim, time out. I'm not a Gen X. I'm a Gen Z.
Okay.
I'm joking. Sorry.
You quit lying. You quit lying.
See, Money and Steve, she labeled me already with my age. I never tell people my age.
Yes, the thing about this, I wholeheartedly agree with this, right? Like I said, a lot of people on this call, many of us been to college, all that good stuff, but they get out today, and if you've got a degree in underwater basket weaving or something like that, you're going to be saddled with debt, and you're not going to be necessarily in demand or employable, right? So, if you really just wasted your money. Conversely, look at the skilled trades guys, look at HVAC, look at plumbers, look at electricians. I mean, we all need them, right? I just put a little part in my air conditioner for $2,200 like a week ago. I'm like, wow, these guys are minting money. It's a great way. They're going to be in demand from now to the end of time. You have a lot of these current skilled trades folks that are actually retiring. They're Gen X and baby boomer generations. So they're kind of aging out, and we need this population to come in behind them because, again, we need these type of jobs. And then here's the great thing about it, right? They can make a wonderful living. I mean, many of these people make six figures. And here's the key that they often don't hit on. These individuals can oftentimes start their own business. They have the opportunity for ownership, and that's beautiful. You can go and start your own plumbing company, your own HVAC company. You can start your own construction company, whatever that is, because you've got that experience. So it's a great path to having a skill that AI can't take away from you, right? Or there's not going to be a risk of AI taking your job. And it gives you the opportunity to go out and have entrepreneurship and business ownership. So I'm 100% on board with this. We need, doctors. Yeah, you need engineers. Yeah, you need, some of these folks. But a lot of people, I think, would be better suited going down a skilled trade pathway to make a wonderful living and have entrepreneurship. And I'll close on this thought. Years ago, I volunteered for the Hillsborough Education Foundation, and it was at-risk kids. And we were in there reading essays for these kids, and they were in 9th grade, and they all had like a 3.5 or above average, right? And they were at risk, and it was to read the essays, determine who would get this scholarship. Guys, I'm here to tell you, forget an essay, they couldn't even put together a paragraph. They couldn't put together sentences. It was almost like, I don't mean this to be, it was very clear. Many of them had been just kind of pushed through from grade to grade. Mm-hmm. And I went to the point of this, I went to the person leading the proctor leading the whole exercise, and I go, you guys are missing the boat. I go, if you take these kids and push them toward college, they're going to fail, and they're going to fail miserably. And then they're going to get out and be like, great, what do I do in my life now? I said, what you need to be doing is determining which ones should be going to college, and then also offering the trade school, skilled trade route for many of these individuals that might be great with their hands, so they can go out and earn a wonderful living and feel good about themselves versus pushing them all to college when they may not be suited for that environment, right? Not everybody's suited for that environment. So again, that was something that stuck in my mind a long time ago. And so that's why I'm hot on this.
Kim, I love it real quick. I'm going to chime in here is like, the universities is a business. Sorry. They're not here to educate you. I mean, when I went to Penn State, they tried to give me my master's. They want me to stay for life. Actually, no university wants you to graduate in 3.5 years. They want you to extend that. Some of my friends extended it for 6 years. reasons why, but that's all good. But all joking aside is like, I mean, these kids are coming out. Their parents, they don't know any direction. This is where I think staffing needs to step up and actually go in as kids, as sophomores, and educate them and say, you got an agent or a recruiter to represent you, because they go out in this world, Stephen G. Money, and they have no clue. And the parents said, well, University of Tennessee or whatever said, you know, might as well go here for a while, try it out. That's money on the line they're spending that might never have value. These kids cannot be 24 years old coming out with $100,000 debt. I mean, and then they're going to try to have a family and try to get a job. And then everything's hitting them hard and they got health benefits. That's why you see the mental health in our industry and in the world, is because we're setting our children up for failure. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're going off a little subject here, but we have to step in. And I think staffing and recruiting, we know the industry. We know what's popping. If it's recommendations to go to college, we should say that. If not, there's a trade for everybody. And I think this is where the schools need to step up. G-Money, maybe you can elaborate on this, but I think at the end of the day, we're just pushing people through. They get out and then their parents are like, what do you do next? And the easiest thing is just sign a check and go to college.
Oh, and so I remember growing up, it was like, no, you can't do a trade. You got to do this. And like just all that whole, because I also have 3 brothers. And that was one of those things, like that was a huge conversation in our household. It's like, nope, you need to go to college. You need to get a degree. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. And so here's the thing. It's like, oh, I'm one of the more like blessed ones when it comes to student loans, because I worked my way through school. I bartended my way through school. And like,
okay, G-Money, time out real quick. Best drink you can make. What is it?
Oh, the one in my hand.
That's classic.
No. I used to have a $400 cocktail, and I called it the $400 cocktail because it was
just made it
up.
No, I've got the black book and everything. No, I award-winning mixologist. We'll talk about that afterwards. I could go into it for days, but we will not get back to staffing if we start that topic. And so now, with that being noted, it was kind of looked down upon to go into the trades, and it was one. I was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, oh, I want to sew, or I'm going to do this or that, because I've always been more creative. But when I figured out what I want to do, it's like, okay, I made sure I got in-state tuition. I worked. I went to school full time. I got to tell you, I probably had about 4 nights a week where I got 6 to 4 hours of sleep, because I would be getting out of work at 2 a.m. and I would be up around 6 or 8 to go hit those morning classes. And then I'd be working later on that night. I did that for years, and it was hard and it was a struggle, and I lucked out. But here's the thing, when it comes to the skilled trades, it's a lower barrier to entry when it comes to cost. Right. One of my friends, he's now making 6+ figures. He's a master journeyman electrician. Okay. He is always busy. And I want to say he spent maybe, it was like 8 or 10 grand over the course of like 2 years.
Amazing.
And so like compared to some of my friends who have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, these real quick, these plumbers and stuff, you go through apprenticeship, they pay for everything free.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, you can't beat that. Then you get in the union, you get the union rate. It's like $80 an hour.
Yeah. Well, here's where staffing can come in with the trades, because I don't think people realize this. So one of the largest segments of the unemployed workforce are college grads. Okay. It's like 5.4% unemployed. So people are graduating with these degrees and they don't have any jobs lined up for them. But a lot of these technical and trade schools, they have these requirements for you to graduate to hit your credits. Is you need to go and have at least minimum 1 internship, sometimes 2. And so they, you might be landlocked where you're at, and there's not a lot of, manufacturers to go and get an internship. But, companies, like, they want this workforce, and these grads, they want to be able to go do an internship at this company and then get a full-time job when they graduate. But they just don't, they just don't know where to look. We met with a university that has 1,500 interns every semester. And they do 3 semesters a year, by the way. And so we went and met with 40 of our current customers, talked to them about this access we have in another state to this large workforce that they have to have an internship to get their credits. And every single one of these companies are like raising their hand, like, yes, we'd love to take them. And so we're finding housing options for them. A barrier for companies has been the onboarding process, all of that hiring for just a 13, 14-week, internship. So as a staffing agency, you can come in and you can remove that barrier. You can do all the payroll for them. They don't have to do anything. And so I think when it comes to the trades, these college grads, you need to start working with staffing agencies to just help you find your internship, because they have access to these thousands of manufacturers that, you can get your foot in the door quickly. And maybe if you make a good impression, you can have a long-term career there.
Here's another way I think staffing companies can help. One thing I realized when I was doing some college recruitment is, and Shark, you hit on this, schools do a woefully poor job of preparing any kind of student for the working world, right?
Oh.
They're not scorecarded on that. They don't tell them how to get a job. They don't tell them how to be successful in a job. They give them no guidance, no direction. Because let's face it, they're not metric or scorecarded on that. What they're scorecarded on is, raising money and research and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I learned is, we could probably help these graduating students better by giving them webinars on how do you do a resume, how do you do your social media profile, how do you interview, how do you negotiate an offer, how do you become successful in your job, and think about what a differentiator that would be for you as a staffing firm to go do a LinkedIn Live and partner with the universities and get the students in there and help them with that. It doesn't take that long. You could do a 1-hour webinar, once a quarter to try to go and help these students that are getting out and they don't know where to start and don't know what to do, because the schools are not scorecarded on helping them with jobs. It's not a priority for them, which it kind of is counterintuitive. The point of going to college is to get a job, but yet the professors, they don't really care. That's not what they care about. They're not in the business of getting students job and helping them be successful. That's not their main mission. It's raising money and research, unfortunately.
You love it. I'm going to jump in there because I think academica is basically, these professors are telling you false things. I hate to say it, not all, but they're not on the streets. Even career services, they're in a room. They don't know. I will say one thing, to get in the university sometimes, it's kind of hard. It took me a while to get in WVU because the career services feel like I'm a threat. They're like, well, I can handle it. I'm like, you haven't put anybody. So what I did was went to all the professors and spoke at all their classes and connected. Everybody's on LinkedIn now. Smart. Every student has a LinkedIn account now, which I thank God that they actually have that. So you can connect with them all. And they're like, wow, what you taught me in that hour, I haven't learned in 3 years. It's because they're giving me fake stuff. I got a criminal justice degree and they say I'm going to be in the FBI, which you have to have an accounting degree for that basically now, So it's like they come out and they're not prepared, like you said, Kim. And that's where I think our industry, we can prepare them. This is fruits that we can just grab, Steve and G Money, and help them all out.
It's a differentiator for your staffing firm, because none of the staffing firms are actually doing
Nobody's doing it. Nope. There's not one staffing firm.
Instruct, you said it without saying it.
So I went to business school. I went to business school and I actually had to go and take classes on negotiation. And I actually had a class where they made us go put up our LinkedIn profile, and then we got graded on it. But that's the thing is, I actually went to school with other people who were not in the Belk Business School. And guess what? They didn't have any of that.
Nothing.
And I had to go, and it's like, oh, here, this is how you write your resume. But that's because I went to a business school. I was lucky, but I have like other friends who were like, they graduated with me. They didn't get any of that because they were in a different program.
But G-Money, could you imagine partnering up with like 5 universities in the area? How much you would have, how many candidates you would have, how many businesses you would have. You would be like, you would never have to get on Indeed or anything anymore. You would just be
matchmaker.
Every year you're feeding new talent.
All right. So I want to end this with one more topic. Kim, you and Richard, you guys have this upcoming summer sales boot camp. What do you call it? The
Summer school
of sales
series. Say that fast.
Summer school staffing series. So I want to build a baseline here. Leading up to this is why it's so important. The industry has been down consecutive 30 plus months now. We are in a staffing recession. Just in the month of May, there was a job loss of 20,000 contingent workers. The staffing index is 5 to 7% down versus last year. Bullhorn is seeing a dip of 3% compared to last year, which again, last year is one of the worst years we've had since the financial crisis of 08 and 09. And so the industry is still down. People are starting to see the silver lining, the light at the end of the tunnel. It looks like we might rebound towards the end of this year. But that's not going to be by accident. There's going to be many agencies left behind, a lot of recruiters, a lot of salespeople left behind if they don't improve on their sales ability to go in and consult and challenge and build their business, negotiate the contracts. So Richard, Kim, let's talk about the summer sales series and why this series is going to help those that are struggling ramp up their game, hit President's Club, hit their goals, hit their metrics. Why don't you guys give us an outline of what the series looks like and when is this happening?
Start off, Kim. Go for it.
Okay, I'll start and then I'll let you jump in. The first topic that we're going to cover is, like you mentioned, we need diversification, right? It's not an easy industry right now, and I think a lot of companies are out there, and again, it's great business, right? They're doing permanent placement, and that's wonderful. But if you're looking for forecastable revenue, kind of that annuity coming in and sleeping a little bit better at night, where you've got that ongoing GP of getting contractors on assignment, then selling contract is definitely something that you want to try to embark on and learn about. So what we're going to do, my goal is really give a detailed view of how do you identify contract opportunities? What do you ask clients? How do you customize solutions for them in the contract space, or quote unquote sell them on it if indeed their environment's right for it? And then ultimately, what are some of the considerations that you have to have as a company from a back office standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, and then how do you fund it, right? And I think that's maybe one of the biggest barriers that scares people away from contract, and it really shouldn't, right? There's multiple ways to go about funding it. And each type of service, whether it's an EOR or whether it's factoring or a bank or whatever, there's all different types of services that each one could provide you. And it really is based on what's going to be the best fit for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to break down funding. We're going to break down what questions to ask, how to identify it, when and where it fits in the business model. Because I will tell you, I got into the industry starting selling contract in 1994 and never looked back. It is truly an amazing business model. Think about that. Once you get yourself, if you're working a desk to, 40, 50, 60 contractors, I mean, that's just a beautiful annuity coming in. And if you're building a staffing firm that you ultimately one day want to sell, well, you got to have forecastable revenue, because that's what companies want to buy. They want to buy that headcount. They don't necessarily want to go, unfortunately, and buy the perm placement business, right? It's not forecastable revenue. So we're going to walk everybody through that in a really detailed way, so they can diversify their business and kind of get on this contract bandwagon. And not only that, Steve and Richard and G Money, you guys know this as well. If there is an economic downturn, right? If we do get an environment like 2008, you have to have contractors. They keep the lights on, right? Companies, while they may not hire perm employees, they're going to hire contractors because they have to do things like AP, AR, IT security. So they have to keep things running, and they're going to come to you for a contractor because that's like the low risk option. So great way to hedge your bet against any type of recessionary or economic downturn as well. Contractors carried us through 2001. They carried us through 2008 in the staffing business. And it really took some of that anxiety off, realizing that we had those billables out there and we had GP coming in every single month. So that's course number one. Anything to add on that chart before we go to number two?
No, I think the big thing with contract that we're going to deep dive in, like Kim said, she's going to talk about the training part. I'm going to talk about the streets part, being on the streets, and how 37 contracts last year, I have to say, 37 was on the phone. So I closed these deals all on the phone. So we're going to do the approach of how you can close these contracts and not even be in person. And that's where that brand and that trust comes in. So this is going to be exciting.
Yeah. Great. And then part two of that is we take it a little bit further and we build on it. Right now that we know how to sell contract, let's maybe get a little more sophisticated and advanced. And it's still time and material contractors, but let's learn how to maybe sell some of that statement of work type of business, so we don't get kind of caught in that margin compression. If we get sucked into an MSP or sucked into, a company that tries to put you into that bucket, there's ways around that. So basically selling statement of work, what to ask, what to look for, how to pitch it. And guys, let me tell you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And started doing it, I'd say probably around 2011. It's not that hard. It's just knowing what to look for and what to ask and how to package it to your client. So that's part two. And then finally, we're going to wrap it all up with, maybe I should have started with this one. To your point, Stephen, it's a tough environment. How do we differentiate ourselves as a staffing firm? How do we become a specialist and subject matter expert in what we do? And it doesn't mean we need to go out and get a PhD by any means. We'll talk about that. How do we gain client share in these accounts? Because guys, staffing companies are wonderful, I think, at gaining customers. And then we place 5 people there, pat ourselves in the back, think we're doing wonderful. And we find our competition is blowing us away because they're placing 55 people there a year because we didn't ask the questions. So we're going to figure out questions to figure out the entire opportunity and work on the business versus just chasing, one job order after the next. So we can get client share and start to dominate and become significant to that customer, relevant, right? Because when you're significant and relevant and you own a lot of that client, it's too hard to get rid of you, right? You're no longer expendable. You're like a business partner to them. And then finally, we're going to talk about value add because we've touched on some of that today with social media. There's a lot of value add things that we can provide to our client. They're going to differentiate us and help us stand out from the competition. Things that we can do that they're going to deem valuable besides and beyond just giving them a candidate. And we'll cover a lot of that. Again, my goal is, the Shark's goal is actionable insights where you can go back the next day and say, I can incorporate these 10 questions into my desk. I can start doing these 5 things tomorrow for free that are going to move the needle for me.
I love it. And I'll just elaborate like this. I mean, it's execute and convert is what we're going to talk about. So at the end of the day, there's be a lot of interactive Q&A, Steve and G Money. So it's going to be one of them where, we're just not going to get up there and talk. We want these stories. What's their pitfalls and stuff so we can try to solve this together, not just by us, so we all learn together. But this is going to be an exciting series. We're going to have some fun, maybe some flowered shirts. I don't know, maybe have a cocktail in the last one. But at the end of the day, we want to bring value this summer, because the fall is going to be coming before you know it. We're going to have to push it out. So
yes.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be good.
And we want to thank our wonderful sponsors that we have for this as well, that are really, really vested in the staffing industry and part of it on a day-to-day basis. Type Marketing, they're wonderful people. Crelate, the folks at Crelate, give a shout out to Courtney. Type Marketing, a shout out to Kristen Kelly. Crelate, Courtney Harmon, and then ASIN. ASIN is an employer of record. They'll kind of factor in a little bit when we start to talk about financing and managing contractors on assignment. And their CEO is Francis Larson, an incredible individual. So we thank our sponsors for this. And we're going to kick off next week and make it as interactive and fun as possible. So again, remember summer school, guys, a little more relaxed than regular school, a little more fun than regular school. So that's the goal.
Right. Yep. Field trip. Get ready. The field trip begins.
I am so excited for this event. Everybody out there is looking for ways to improve their business, to level up, and to master the art of contract staffing. That is just so valuable. Selling the statement of work. I think most people do not have even a clue of what that means, let alone sell it. So Kim, I'm excited to tune in there. Gaining client share, value add, and then a 10-step plan to build client loyalty and retention. So how much is this series going to cost? What's the enrollment?
We're excited to say this. Can I say it, Kim?
Say it.
It's FREE, free.
Okay, so I registered for it, and I was going to message you, Kim, and go, hey, there's something wrong with your paywall. It just let me register without putting a credit card in.
Okay, there you go. That's the goal. It worked as it should have worked. That's good.
Exactly. Wow. It's all about the sponsors, helping us out here. So everything we give away is free. So we're going to be, you can pick our brains as much as you want. And I think Stephen and G Money just elaborate on this at the end. Everything in staffing and sales is so simplified. We're going to make it simple for you. It's simple. You just write this stuff down and you execute 2 out of the 5 things that we say. You're going to get candidates. I swear by it. If not, tell me I'm a fool. I mean, it's so simple to get sales these days, but I think we make it complicated. So we're going to simplify it for you.
Right. Tell you what to ask the questions and listen to the answers. It's going to help you start to spot opportunity instead of just being so hyper focused on, job order, right? They're important, but there's a bigger piece to it as well that we can go out and gain.
Plus, we're going to bring positivity to it too. When you're done with this course, you're going to be positive mindset going into the fall to be a rock star.
It's fantastic.
That's
fantastic. I'm gonna put the link in the chat or in the description. I'll have to update it. So if you're watching live, you might have to wait a few minutes. But if you're watching on your screen, I've got the link there. Summer-school-staffing-series www.heysummit.com. Long address, so just copy and paste it from the description.
And as a reminder, it's also free. And the best part about the summer school staffing series, it seems like you all are going to be able to walk out with actionable insights. All right.
Yes, no theory. We can't apply theory. Actions.
Actionable insights and execute and convert. You guys are just gonna go make it all simplified. See, I take notes.
You did. Wow, look at you.
That's because she's G money. What do you expect? She's G
money on a Friday taking notes.
I know. Oh yeah. Oh, and I even have a whole recap. Steven, we ready?
Hit us with the recap.
Steven, where's your recap at on your wrist?
It's on my wrist. That's right.
Old school over here. However,
you gotta remember to take that off at certain times, Steven, right? You
I know.
24 hours a day.
Yes, Steven.
It's okay. Before you do the recap, fun story about that. I was trying it out yesterday for the first time, and so I'm in my house talking to my wife, and we're talking about politics, and then she's mad at me about not taking the garbage out, and so I'm looking at the summary, and it was like, the other participant in your conversation seems very agitated. It was great.
So this could be like a relationship building thing too. The rest,
100%. Yeah.
I actually think he told me that yesterday, and so I actually was like, you should actually really lean into this.
No, it's like little insights. Yeah, to keep everything healthy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right, take us home, Geneviève.
All right, ready? So we're just going to kind of go over high level. So when it comes to AI, we need to go and what? Embrace it. Okay. And right now, kind of as a best practice, try to learn like 2 or 3 tools per month. Okay. Figure out what's going to work best for you and for your company and for your needs and goals. Also, customizing and building out AI agents by making sure that you're programming it and putting in the right information. Use AI to your advantage. And also the whole difference between AEO and SEO. All right.
Love it.
More people are learning on AI. And also, don't fear AI because fear is false evidence appearing real. Next, we are jumping into our marketing segment, the play-by-play. All right. Make sure you are unified with your marketing team, whether you are in ops or in sales. Speak with marketing. Marketing is here to help. I work in marketing. I help everyone. All right. Value add. All right. Improv selling. I love that. Improv selling. Just being your authentic self. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to be authentic.
Yep.
Also interselling. It's about people. It's not about you. It's about people and the solutions that you can bring to solve their problems. Make sure you are grabbing their attention. People love videos. Okay. And now we're going to go hit on the economy. Yep. You know what? There are some people who have paid a lot of money. They're having a hard time finding jobs. Prices have gone up. We live in a hustle culture. But some people are trying to diversify their income. Other people are here. They are just like, I'm trying to swap over careers. Or some people are just like, hey, I'm trying to keep up with paying the bills. So there's a couple of different things there. But trade schools, right? When it comes to education and the economy, trades, skilled trades, okay? AI is not going to replace those. I mean, I know how much I paid for a plumber the other week. Kim, you too.
Oh,
all
yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
Become an AC guy in Florida. You'll write your own ticket.
Hey, Steve, let's start plunging, man. Plunging.
Turning the wrench, plunging. Yep.
Get them big gloves on.
But here's the thing, like more people need to know, like, hey, like the barriers to entry to a skilled trade. A, you can be paid through internships. All right. B, it's a lot lower. And you know what? Some people are just better with their hands. And here's the thing, like schools and career counselors, they need to be like better when it comes to unifying, like, hey, rather than just pushing people towards a piece of paper, what's actually going to fit and work for them. And then another thing, schools, universities, and staffing firms, they equal good.
Partner up.
Partner up, because that is a whole recruiting base right there. What did I miss?
You got it. You nailed it. That's why you're G-Money. You nailed
That was
it.
excelente. You know that. Like Phil and Ted's Excellent Adventure, you did everything perfect.
I'll take it.
Better than my AI note. Well,
Yeah.
Kim, Richard, we're so such a great conversation today, talking about the trends, what's going on in the industry. Again, free summer school staffing series. I thought it was going to cost me $500 to enroll. It was absolutely free, starting in June 25th for the first round. The link will be in the description. It's on the screen. Go watch these two live, learn a lot, and let's all hit President's Club in 2025.
All right.
Got it.
All right. We thank you guys. Thank you so much, G-Money and Steve and Shark. We'll be seeing you on the 25th as we kick off the sessions. And again, we thank our sponsors too, Type Marketing, ASIN, and Crelay. Couldn't do it without them.
You guys are rock stars. I got to tell you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
You guys
Thank
badass.
you.
All right, and we'll see you guys next week. We got David from Staffing Referrals coming on the show. We're going to do a recap of our sales conference. So tune in. Lots of nuggets going to be shared. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. This episode is sponsored by Staffing Referrals. We have relied on Staffing Referrals for years to turn satisfied associates into brand ambassadors, keeping quality talent coming in and lift retention. See what it can do for you at staffingreferrals.com or click on the link in the description. Thanks for watching.